Alright, dudes, this is gonna be unformal. I got Cody on the call with me, but I just want to show you guys this because it's the fucking coolest thing ever. So, I've taught you guys about SGOV, and that's like 3-month treasuries, right? So, you can park your money in 3-month treasuries and you get the Fed rate for interest on your uninvested cash or your savings, right? So, like, rather than using a high yield savings account or something like that, you can put it in there, and then if you ever need it, it's liquid. Like, you can have it the same day versus with the high yield savings or whatever, you can't. So that's really cool. But then I found this NEOS fund, which the NEOS funds are how I'm doing my income strategy anyways, because they track the indexes and then they use options to create income around the indexes. But of course, whenever you're investing in anything that moves up and down, there's inherent risk. So then I found this fucking thing. This is the coolest shit ever. So it came out. You can see my screen, right, Cody?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so it came out August of 2022, and as you can see, it launched at $50, and today it's $49.75. And you can see over the entire life of this thing, it has stayed basically $50 within like a quarter of that, right? And
Yeah.
that's because the underlying asset is treasuries. So this one little drop right here, it came down $1, and I'll explain why that happened in a second. But even then, a dollar is nothing. If you had $100,000 in this, and it came down that $1, you'd be down 2 grand. Okay, and you can see that was very, very short-lived. You just don't do anything. So this is really fucking cool. So here, as you can see, it pays a monthly dividend. Every month, it pays out a dividend, right? And you can see the consistent, so 0.19, 0.19, 0.19, 0.205, 0.209. They're going to get higher as they go back because the way this works is it's the Fed rate. So the rates were at like pretty high levels for the last couple of years, right? Like that's why the fucking rates on housing is ridiculous, right? So
Yeah.
unfortunately, finding out about this now sucks because as rates come down, this won't be as good. The higher the rates are, the better this is. But the way it works is the Fed rate, right, is your base yield. So if the Fed rate is 3%, then you yield 3% annually. But they also sell SPX spreads, and that gets about 6 to 7% a month. And you can see just how stable that is. I mean, it's been at $50 for 3 years. Okay, so they do a really good job, and you can see it through the dividends too. That it's very consistent income. Like, there's never been a month where they didn't deliver there. So, and that averages about 6 to 7% a month. So you add those together, right? So if the base Fed rate is about 3.6 right now, and you're getting, let's say, 6% for the worst case here, that's 9.6% a year on your cash with zero risk because the underlying asset is treasuries. So in order for that to implode, the United States has to die. If that happens, it doesn't matter what you're invested in, you're fucked, right? So the reason this is so crazy, dude, is because if you think about it, right, that the stock market averages 10 to 12% a year, right? 10% a year historically, okay? But you have to endure all this volatility, right? Well, with this, if you were in this from 2022 to today, the majority of that time you were getting 12% annually through dividend distributions with no risk, absolutely no fluctuations in your capital at all. So you could have just bought this, right? And you'd have just made 12% year over year, which is fucking incredible that you can do that without any risk, right? And like I said, the thing that sucks about finding out about it now is rates are on the way down. So this becomes less, you know, lucrative, I guess, like as rates get lower, and they're probably going to get to 3%, and then this is going to average, 8 to 10% a year, okay? Which
That's still pretty good.
for no risk, bro, none. It's insane. It's insane, right? Like, so I'm trying to create an income vehicle to replace my wife's job in a few years. If you think about it, if I took my entire taxable account right now, it's like 76 something thousand dollars, right? And I dumped it in this, okay? And then every time I got paid, I put 500 bucks in here every week. Okay, so $2,000 a month. And I understand that everybody's numbers are different here, but the principle is the same. If if I just put $500, and you can do it, you can put all of your savings in here because, like, again, you can see, like, we've had two crashes since this has happened, right? And it doesn't show up here because it's treasuries. They're stable. They don't collapse. Been around for hundreds of years. Okay, so you can just put all of your money in here, right? All of it, and you can just turn drip on, and every time you get a dividend, it'll just buy more shares of it, and you can just keep shoveling your money in here and treat it just like you would a savings account, and you're gonna get, depending on the Fed rate, somewhere around like 9 to 12%, right? Like the only real risk here is upside. Like you cap your upside because if rates come way down, then obviously stocks are gonna go for a ride. We saw that in 2021, right? So like stocks go flying up and you miss all those gains. But it's not like you can't just sell this and move into stocks when that opportunity presents itself, right? So like I don't think that this should be people's like primary, like you definitely shouldn't do this for like a retirement account or something, right? But if you have a savings account, this is incredible. Like this replaces a savings account and allows you to save money faster, like exponentially faster, right? Like it's fucking insane. It's fucking insane. So
That's pretty neat.
I found out about this because I've been putting my money in SGOV forever, which if I pull that up, it's gonna look just like this, right? It's the same thing. It's 100 a share, right? And you get the Fed yield the whole time, so you can see consistent dividends, right? You're getting like depending on the Fed rate, you're getting that for interest per year. So if you have $100,000 in here and interest rates are 5%, you're gonna make 5 grand for the year. Not very exciting, I understand, but but so it's literally this, but combined with options income, right? So the highest it's ever been is 51.62, and the lowest it's ever been is 48.90. I mean, dude, that's about as stable as it gets. It floats right around this $50 line though. Like this is 3 years of price action, and it's down one quarter, like 25 cents from where it IPO'd. That's about as stable as it fucking gets, man. So I just wanted to share this because that's like it depends on your goals, right? Like if you're trying to grow your wealth over time, this is not the vehicle to do it. But if you're trying to create passive income, like if that's one of your goals or you have a reason to do so, like I'm trying to replace my wife's job by 40, right? This this guarantees that I do that by 40. The other strategy that I was using, it was pretty much a certainty, but you have the risk of like, the stock market crashes 30% and you lose the principal of your balance. You're still getting paid that passive income, but you have to look at that fucking giant ugly ass red on your screen, right? For who knows how long. This erases that problem. Like completely gets rid of that problem. So
Mm.
the only thing that happens here that's a quote unquote risk is you miss the growth of stocks if you're in this instead, and then you if the Fed rate goes to zero, which has happened two times ever, right? The Great Recession and then COVID, right? If the Fed rate goes to zero, then you're only going to get like 6% because they're just going to do it through the SPX spreads, but the price would still be $50. So it's essentially a high yield savings account on steroids and it's completely liquid. So hopefully
That's
that,
pretty cool.
yeah, hopefully that was helpful to everybody, and maybe there is or maybe there isn't somebody out there that this could be useful for, but like for me, right? Like this is huge. It's game changing because to me it's like I understand I'm in a different situation. Not everybody in here has the same situation, but like we're in a high income situation where and we're debt free where like I would rather protect my money than try and risk it to make a bunch at this point so that I can live off of my investments before I'm 59, right? This guarantees that happens. Guarantees it. Because by the time I'm 40, if I did $500 a week, starting from where I am today, by the time I'm 40, I'd be making $5,000 a month off this, right? And that's assuming I only do $500 a week, but I'd be way more aggressive than that because there is no risk. So I just park all of my extra money in here. Like, yeah, it's game changing. This was super eye opening. I randomly found it tonight, so I wanted to share it with everybody, and I looked into it and how it works and everything. So again, it's the Fed funds rate plus 6 to 7% from SPX options. So, all right, deuces.